She'll explain that to you.
Okay.
Because I always forget what it is. It looks like a microphone to me. But Arrow, what is that?
It's a coup stick. It's a Native American coup stick, and it is to show courage as well as forgiveness when it comes to, they would walk into different nations and they would touch their enemy on the shoulder, and it was a way of just saying, hey, look, we can still get along even though we're at war.
It's beautiful. It almost has a look of a dream catcher.
Well, it sure does.
Yes.
It sure does. It sure does. And you know, the dream catcher, in all honesty, that was how they shared stories. They would put stories inside the dream catchers. It's not something that purifies your dreams or anything like that. The real dream catchers were done by the women, and they would leave them behind as they traveled to find like buffalo and other places to eat.
That's so interesting. All right. Well, I wish I had a dream catcher to share my story with you.
Hey, Arrow, I hope Jazzy's sitting there with you. This is going to be interesting.
She's right.
Okay,
she's
cool.
always about 2 feet from me, if even that. I mean, she's always with me, because I swear this is her show. I just happen to be the one that's talking. It's her questions.
And Arrow, before we start, what is Jazzy? Jazzy
is a rescued pointer.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
she's my little girl, and I'm going to be very honest with you, Amy. She was really treated badly before I got her, and when she got here, she destroyed everything. And I remember looking at her in the eyes in 2018 and saying, "I'm not taking you back, but I'm going to learn everything I can to know who you are and what you are, and you're going to be my child." And we have been inseparable ever since.
You did the right thing. You absolutely did the right thing. And, we can even talk about this when we get on, but sometimes rescued animals come with some history, and we have to allow them to get past that so they can be the pets that they really were meant to be.
I think I'm her pet. I think that she treats me like I'm her puppy.
Well, yes, you're her slave, actually.
To put this book together, it excites me because I have always been a big fan of the heroes behind the scenes, because you really are. We need these pets. No matter how famous you are, the humanism of it all is that we need to have vets that take care of our pets.
So I think pets make us better people,
yeah.
Right? So they allow us to love in a way that sometimes people can't do with other people. They are an essential part of our lives. And we learned that, firsthand during COVID, when people were isolated, people who lived alone were really feeling like so much pain from not being surrounded by others that they loved, and found relief from getting a pet. So they're different from us. They walk on fours. They have fur everywhere. They don't speak in a language that we can answer, but they're family members.
Well, I just learned yesterday from an expert that people who suffer from, that disorder, that when there's not enough light or they have too much darkness in their life, that pets and dogs are the ones that really do help them get through that. Instead of just lighting up your house to break free of the darkness, a dog will help you along the way.
I could list, dozens of medical conditions that have been shown scientifically to improve in the presence of animals. Petting a dog will lower someone's blood pressure. Yes. Talking to animals decreases your heart rate. There are so many ways that animals make us healthier. I tell a story in the book about a woman who was quite elderly, and she lived alone with an elderly pet. And when her dog got sick and passed away, her life was basically over. The dog was the reason she got up in the morning, yep. Why she got dressed, why she ate. She took the dog out for a walk. And 1 week after that dog passed away, I went to visit her, not as a veterinarian, but as a friend. And I saw my dear friend disheveled, unshowered, in a nightgown, no teeth in her mouth. And I realized that I was going to lose her unless she had a reason to live. Mm-hmm. And I found for her an older toy poodle rescue dog. I literally took him from the top of the line. Everybody wanted him, but he was medical therapy for this woman. And when I brought him to her house, she said, no, I can't possibly have a dog. And I said, no, I didn't bring this dog for you. I brought this dog because I need a place for him to stay tonight. I have no place for him to go, or I don't know what could possibly happen to him. All of this was untrue. I left the dog with her that night. I came back the next day under the pretenses of picking him up, and she was dressed and clean and her teeth were in. And she said, "I'm so glad you brought him to me. He needed me." And they lived together until her passing. Wow. And, this is an example of the kinds of stories that I tell in my book. Yes, I'm a veterinarian and I go to people's homes because they call me to give their dogs vaccines or because their dog or cat is sick. But what I've seen in the past 32 years is the human condition. And as a veterinarian, I'm witness to more than just what goes on with the animals. And what I love about doing house calls is I can be part of that. And sometimes my skills are helpful for the people as well.
So in a really special way, you're also a psychologist because, you know our lifestyle.
So I wish I took more courses in psychology and psychiatry because, yes, it's very much a part of what I do. But I think it boils down to common sense that, oftentimes when I see people, they're in need. They're going through what could be one of the worst experiences of their lives. People have told me that they grieve more when their pet has passed than they do when a family member has passed. And that doesn't mean they didn't love their family member. But what we have to remember is, your dog or your cat goes to bed with you every night. You wake up with them. Mm-hmm. You are part of their lives 24/7, even though they may not be part of our lives 24/7. And so their loss is really devastating to a lot of people. And you have to, as a veterinarian, have empathy for this. Yeah. And me and my team, we all have pets. We all know the pain that people are going through. And we stay with them to help them deal with that.
I'll show you how deep I get. If they say that the human 1 year is 7 years to a dog, what is an 8-hour workday to a dog when you're not home? To me, that has to be months.
I have good news for you. Dogs live for the moment.
Oh.
So they're pretty good about that. And it's interesting. There have been studies that show where they're recording animals in the people's absence. When you leave, they get very excited. And then you know what they do? They nap. Yeah. But if you're on the same schedule every day, right before you get home, they get very excited. So you might think they've been excited like that the whole time, but usually that's not the case.
I'm such a freak because sitting next to me, to my left, my last 8 rescues, they're ashes. And in my heart, they're still very much alive and they're very much a part of what I do on a daily basis. Because, it's like I don't believe they ever leave. They're still with us spiritually.
So their bodies are gone, but that soul that they have, I think if you're a dog person, like I can tell you are, like I am, and so many people I know, that stays with you forever. People tell me all the time, as they take out their phone and I'll see their screensaver, "Oh, that was my beloved Fluffy who passed, 10 years ago." They're very much a part of our lives. And, that is what really compelled me to write this book. I had been witness to so many relationships. I come home every day from work and say to my husband, "You will not believe what happened today." And sometimes it's something that the pet did. Sometimes it's something that the person did. Sometimes the interaction between the two. And in his infinite wisdom, he said, "I think you should go write that down." And that's what created Pets in the City.
One of the things, it's not underneath my skin, but I'm trying to understand it even more. The people that bring in dogs that have the little sign that says service dogs, and it's not a service dog. I get it. I'm a codependent to my baby behind me. But I can't take her into a grocery store. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think you touch on 2 points. The first is, I think it's time for us to lighten up our laws about where animals can go. We all live with animals. They come in our kitchens. We don't need to be afraid of eating food around, a dog. I think what we need to do is train our pets so that they're good citizens and they behave themselves when they're around food and around other people. And then perhaps we wouldn't have, these restrictions. The whole thing about service animals has become so abused. And people can get, certification, and then their pets can go places where animals aren't supposed to be. And it would be fine if those animals behaved properly, but sometimes they don't. And ultimately that, makes it harder for everyone.
Well, Jazzy loves Lowe's. She likes going into a hardware store, and I think it's because, I take her in there because it's not food. What is she going to hurt? But my God, she loves to go in there.
Well, it's fun. There are other people. There are good smells in a hardware store. And, again, dogs get stimulated by, different environments. So I think Jazzy's telling you she wants all those crazy new smells.
Now, I've been with the uber rich, and one of the things that I've taken note of when it comes to those is that they like to isolate their dogs. In other words, here are my pretty puppies. Look at them, look at them. Okay, now go back into that room. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But I can't say anything.
I have been so blessed by the wealthy and the celebrity clients that I've had throughout the years, because once we get over the fact that you are the piano man or you are, the famous Elton John, these people love their pets, and their pets, they walk them, they sleep with them, they feed them. So I've never really had to deal with somebody who had just the the pet for, an accessory pet was the word I was looking for. My people love their pets. Maybe that's a New York City thing.
Well, that's so interesting that you say that, because the last time I was in New York City, I did take the time to look at everybody with their dogs. It is such a relationship that people have. When you go down to get a bagel or a coffee, the dog's right there with them.
Oh. So, this is just conjecture. It is hard to live in New York City. It's a lot of hustle and bustle, et cetera. It's stressful. Maybe we have our pets to make our lives a little bit easier.
Yeah. Do we all talk baby talk to our dogs? I do. I'm very guilty of it.
Dogs love a high-pitched sound.
Really?
So even though we might look silly, when you talk baby talk, their ears go up, they pay attention, they like it. I have seen people actually have conversations with their dogs as well in normal tones of voice. So, just let me know if your dog answers you.
She does, in a very loving way. It's almost like the look. And it's just my crazy imagination, but I feel like that we do have that connection together.
I believe you do. I mean, the things that you say about your dog tell me that you are the kind of person who would have a connection with your dog on a level that's like very special.
Oh yeah, because when we take that transition walk through this forest, I mean, it's amazing where she can go out there and smell everything. It's a good walk to her, and it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this again another day.
It's funny because I always tell people, at least a few times a week, let your dog take you on a walk.
Yeah.
Especially in New York City, we have to walk our dogs on a tight leash. We're usually in a rush. So we're going down the street and saying, no, not there. Come with me.
Yep.
Let your dog set the way to go. I think it's a wonderful enrichment activity for them.
One of the things that a lot of people struggle with is when the dogs hit the grass and they start rolling around. Now, I'm fearful of it because I'm afraid the owner's going to come out and say, you're destroying my grass, where my wife goes, let your dog be your dog. Come on, that's what dogs do.
I think you're both right. If your dog's doing it on your neighbor's property and your neighbor doesn't like dogs, maybe be fearful of it and move your dog. Yeah. But your wife is right. That's a normal behavior for dogs. They like to get their coats covered with the scent of the outside. In evolutionary terms, it was very helpful if you got your coat covered by the scent of the grass or detritus or anything that was on the grass, because that would mask your scent. And dogs were hunters. So if you're out there hunting and the wind is blowing in the wrong direction and dog scent goes to your prey, they're going to run away. Yeah. But if that wind picks up the smell of the grass and other things that would normally be on the ground, your prey isn't frightened and you stand a better chance.
Wow. The relationship that you have with those that come to you, because I've been with my veterinarian for 33 years, and what she's had to go through, especially when the day I invited her into our forest and I knew that it was time for Woji to transition. And I mean, the tears that we shared together, I mean, you get so close to us, and yet that place out there in the forest is still just as vibrant as anything.
So because I go to people's homes, Sadly, one of the things that we do is we help animals transition because, of course, it is so much easier for the people and the pets to be at home. And I talk about this a lot in the book. It takes a toll on me and my staff because we all love our own pets and we can see ourselves going through what they're going through, and we all have been there. And also, as you say, you've been with your veterinarian for decades. We know these families, we know these animals, we've watched the cycle of life, and there's never a dry eye when this is happening. But again, it's part of life. It's the sad part of life. But we feel it's better for the people to have their emotional experience in the comfort of their own homes. And it's so much better for the pets not to have to travel to the veterinarian's office.
I think one of the greatest things about your book, Pets in the City, is the fact that listeners can really get into this book and realize when they take their dog to the vet, don't think about how much it's going to cost. Just don't do it. Listen to the stories, read the stories, embrace your side of the journey.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, veterinarians are well-educated medical professionals, and we have the ability to do amazing medical and surgical care for pets. Sadly, that does cost a lot of money, and most people don't have pet health insurance, which I highly recommend you get to help with some of the burden of the cost.
Oh, yeah, because when Woji swallowed a penny, because dogs will pick up anything, $8,000. And it was, oh, my God. It was like, but the thing is, I didn't blink an eye because I wanted my child. I wanted my child to be great again.
And I want to point out to your listeners, coins are extremely dangerous because when they get swallowed, stomach acid breaks down those metals, which are toxic. So don't let your pets or your kids eat coins.
Listen, I don't know if you can hear this. That's the penny inside of a special container. I saved the penny.
You saved it.
I did because I wanted to serve as a forever reminder. Pick things up, including coins.
I have to tell you a funny anecdote that's in the book. A guy called me and said he couldn't find his headphones. No, I'm not talking about earbuds that you put in your ears. I'm talking about the two round black things that go over your ears with the thing that goes over your head. And he said he looked everywhere in his studio apartment. And I'm like, you don't think the dog could have eaten them? It's not possible. He's like, I don't know, Doc. I can't find them. I said, you know what? We're going to x-ray your dog. And in the dog's stomach were those two black things with the metal piece that goes around. For the life of me, I have no idea how he could have possibly have swallowed it because it was bigger than the opening that goes into the stomach. But they were there. The dog was fine. We removed them surgically. The headphones didn't work afterwards, but the dog did.
Where can you, because I'm sure there's some group that you belong with that really could use some donations.
Well, I'm a big supporter of Best Friends.
Yeah.
Best Friends is a national organization. Their mission is to make the United States no kill. They will rescue any animal and rehabilitate it and help to find a forever home. So if you're inclined to spend some time or some money on an organization that does really good work, I highly recommend Best Friends. And then if you have a little extra money, go to your favorite bookstore and pick up a copy of Pets in the City.
Thank you so much for being here today. Please come back anytime in the future.
Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, Doctor?
Thank you, and you too.